Welcome to Darkroom Games. On this episode, we'll be reviewing Splatterhouse 2 for the Sega Megadrive. Splatterhouse 2 was released on August 4th, 1992 for the Sega Megadrive and Sega Genesis. One of Namco's more controversial titles, this game was the sequel to the arcade and PC Engine hit Splatterhouse 1. Looking at this cover, it may seem pretty tame for today's standards, but ask yourself to cast your mind back to 1992, where we used to video game covers that appealed to parents at Christmas time. Bright colours, familiar faces, and family fun. Then this game cover popped up amongst the G-rated nonsense, and boy was it different. It was dark, violent, it had blood dripping from its title. I wanted to play this game the minute I got home. I opened it up and stuck it in the Megadrive. The first level sees Rick Taylor wake up in a cemetery wearing his iconic mask and overalls. Unbelievably, Rick cuts monsters in half with one furious punch, while giant mutant leeches fly out of corpses and attack him. What's even more chaotic is these enemies eat their own. Reaching the first boss is a new level of grotesque. Looking at it is bad enough, but the putrid sounds emanating from its body makes your skin crawl. And then this happens. Wow. The game does include the classic survival mode moving elevator screen where enemies appear one after the other to test your endurance. One thing I will mention about these enemies is their shrieking. While it may be shocking at first, the sounds they make really test your patience and make you just want to move on to what's next. Unfortunately, these guys are in just about every level, and things do get trickier as you move on. It's actually quite easy to get caught in a ditch and drown, which results in Rick groaning in agony. One thing I really like about this game is its ability to gross you out. For example, Rick is fighting his way out from a man-eating mutant with tentacles. I really don't want to get caught in that simply for the reason that it's disgusting. Severed hands and floating skulls try and attack Rick in his quest to find his girlfriend, and this is definitely one of the more challenging obstacles to overcome. Eventually, Rick does find Jennifer, however this next monster is crazy. It's a floating head that shoots out floating heads. Each boss in this game is as difficult as they are weird. At this point, it's clear to me that in the peak of the console wars, Sega was targeting a more mature audience. Whether I knew it or not, this game was part of that campaign. Back to the game, Tentacles is on the chase again, and Rick is forced to throw spear-like objects to evade him. Eventually, the final floating head is turned to stone and shattered into pieces. Jennifer is reunited with Rick, and the haunted mansion from the first game is somehow sunken into the ocean. What that means, I don't know. However, after all the blood, the gore, the leeches, the severed limbs, the horror, the game decides to end with the cheesiest moment I could have thought of. But hey, that's video games. This has been Chris for Darkroom. See you next time.